What I've got for you today are some super secret ladder replays. It's time for a Terran vs Zerg played on the European server. And in game number 1, we find ourselves on a map called El Dorado. Now, spotting right here in the bottom left-hand corner, playing with the blue Zerg drones, we have none other than Serral. His opponent down in the bottom right. I guess this is pink, purple, whatever you want to call it. We're looking at Clem's main command center. Clem going off against Serral. This is, of course, the main rivalry in StarCraft 2 right now. There are so many players that, well, regularly take games off of one another. But after years of demolishing Clem, it seems that recently the French Terran player has had Serral's number. So these particular games, I've got 2 replays here. They were played on the ladder. I don't know who ends up winning it. I haven't seen any of this yet, so I'm very excited to find out. It was played just a couple days ago. So after Home Story Cup. So these are about the freshest Serral games that we can have a look at right now. As you probably know, Serral doesn't really play in a whole lot of tournaments. So it's always exciting to see where the man is currently at. Now, we find ourselves on one of the new maps. This one is called El Dorado. It's my favorite map of the new maps. And also, the one that gets played by far the least. Yeah, that pretty much always seems to be the case. It is my personal favorite, but it's a little bit different than what we normally see. So, at least in a lot of the tournament play, we don't seem to see a whole lot of El Dorado. I'm actually not sure about the win-loss ratios. Maybe we can have a quick little look. Maybe there's like one overwhelming race on this map that just makes it unplayable for the others. But obviously on the ladder, especially if you're a tournament player, you don't really want to be vetoing any maps. So there have been a grand total of 117 tournament games played on this map so far. In Terran vs Zerg, okay, apparently it's got about a 58% advantage for Terran. So that is quite significant. That is quite significant. But obviously the sample sizes are relatively low. It's also apparently significantly better for Terran going up against Protoss with a 57% advantage. So it's a Terran map. Yeah, it's a Terran map. At least that seems to be the case so far. Now, obviously, this map is a really complex one. Lots of different patterns in which you can expand, and you can obviously gobble up, well, entirely different sections of the map. The reason, though, why I like it is because none of the games I've seen on it so far really look familiar. So you have this low ground area that is only accessible after mining out those mineral fields. We also have, obviously, the golden base right over there. If any of that is mined out, the bottom section of the map becomes accessible. There's a couple of skinny mineral fields over here in the middle of the map, too, that you can mine out nice and early. It allows you to rush the opponent if you want to. And there's a lot of cool hiding of the strategies that you can do. If you don't really want to opt for any of those bottom bases, you can also go for just a more conventional expansion layout, like what Serral is doing here. Expanding away from the Terran player and just trying to stay alive. Yeah, so apparently the TVZ win rate is 58% in favor of Terran at the tournament level, but it's a sample size of 26 games. So even though it could be worse, maybe it's a 2 out of 3 advantage, right? But it is also really quite difficult to draw proper conclusions off of a sample size of just 26 games. Anyways, keep in mind that these are ladder games. The matches we're going to be looking at today, meaning that there is a good chance that these games are going to be played out a little bit differently than your tournament matches that I regularly cast here instead. Obviously, there's going to be some experimentation on the ladder. Players in general try their very best to, learn new builds and new strategies. And even though this is the absolute highest level on the ladder, there's still going to be a little bit of experimentation that we can expect from the players. Obviously, TVZ is a well-figured-out matchup, but, okay, I was wondering, maybe we could see some shenanigans from the Terran player with, like, Terran mech and all that, right? Like, maybe some late-game variety, rather than going for ghosts. Now that they're a little bit weaker with the new patch, maybe they can go for, I don't know, battle cruisers. Unlikely. For now, though, this is very normal, of course. Clem is certainly a bio-based Terran, somebody who loves playing Marines and Marauders and Medevacs, so that is the strategy we're going to be seeing out of him here as well. It's a 2-1-1 opener with a quick third command center, so Clem should be able to get that economy going while still moving across the map with those Medevacs. Serral, in the meantime, already up to 7 queens. So even though a lot of Zerg players have been experimenting with well, 3 to 4 queen builds. Apparently, Serral is not messing around with that. We have a relatively quick lair. Double gas in a natural right now together with a baneling nest. And already a 4th hatch. What is this? Ay. Sorry, I know there's Hellions roaming the map, but what is that thing? It's got a mouth for a face. Oh, it rolls! Okay. All critters are beautiful, but some of them are more beautiful than others. What is this thing? Oh, I can't even click it. Oh my god, it's unclickable. You know, it's unclickable, which is good because that means it can't be targeted down either. I know there are some pro gamers out there that kill all the critters on the map. There is a chance that it can die to splash damage, but this weird looking crocodile thing, we'll have to keep an eye on whether or not it's around near the later stages of the game too. So this is mostly just some pressure here from Clem, trying to see if he can deal some serious damage. But obviously he already built that 3rd command center and that delays this type of attack quite a bit. You can tell here that Serral is immediately taking this early game opportunity with both hands. When there's no Hellions roaming the map, the creep spread gets out of hand very, very quickly. I got myself some coffee, by the way. Where'd it go? What? Oh, sorry. Jeez. It blends into the environment quite nicely. It was over here, but apparently it has a bit more of a roaming area there. Okay, anyways. Push in the middle of the map. 2nd factory coming up. Additional barracks also building. Sometimes if there's like banelings dealing splash damage next to critters, even when untargetable, they will still die. Like Terran, if they in the late game want to start nuking this base, there is a chance that... We need a name. Croco Bro. Croco Bro could be collateral damage. Now, where do we take the next expansion? I guess this one makes a lot of sense for Serral. But you can already tell here that Clem has taken the bases at the bottom of the map. So I would imagine, yeah, the next base is going to be right over here instead. So we can take these golden minerals to our advantage. And this is why I like El Dorado. It reminds me of Golden Wool. We have the Terran player trying to gobble up all of the resources at the bottom of the map. And Serral is basically given the entire top section of the map as well. So... it means that all this creep spread over here is nice, and it could certainly be important. But if the main attack path from Terran is going to be over here at the bottom, what are you going to do about it? And Clem is now actually using this as an opportunity to be dropping behind those skinny mineral fields. Serral not mining those out early. He's going to have a really hard time getting rid of that siege tank. I wonder if he can actually bring multiple tanks here and just keep the ball rolling. 2-2 in the meantime starts up for Clem. I wouldn't be surprised if the rocks over here are actually the reason why Terran has such a good win rate apparently so far against both Zerg as well as Protoss. Apparently there was a Force Council over here in the middle of the map. Serral quickly restarting it. So far though, everything is relatively normal. Do we go orbital here or do we have to go planetary? Is it better to fly it to the other side? I'm not sure. Couple of banelings trying to see if they can get lucky. Okay. Not the worst trait. And Serral in the meantime runs a couple of lings and banes through the center of the map, mining out one of those skinny mineral fields. Jimmy sees all of this coming. He's right next to a friend called Jimmy as well, although that's a fake one. Hydras in the main base do get a kill. Push over here also gets cleaned up. And Clem's aggression is mostly shut down. Nice moves right here by the finisher. Recently, Clem really has had his number. Clem actually managed to go 10-0 in maps against Serral. In tournaments, that is. If you consider both the EWC and also some of the games played at Home Story Cup. 10-0 against Serral is nuts. I don't think that's happened in, well, ever. Serral is such a dominant player, and for him to lose that many games in a row, it is a little bit much. It is a planetary, by the way. It's a bit of a cursed way of mining this mineral field, right? So, it's... generally speaking, you're supposed, quote-unquote, supposed to take this base from the other side. Serral thinking about blowing up the wall here. He knows that Terran is very far forward at this 6 o'clock position, but Apparently, yeah, maybe the natural expansion is your best line of attack. It is clear that Clem did not quite expect this. No sensor tower covering this area. These links are properly upgraded for now at least, and they can get some work done. Alright. Clem was thinking about pushing again at the bottom of the map, but he had to come all the way back. Fires up 3-3 right now on the back of this, together with the drilling claws research. In the meantime, Hive is coming up. More Banelings are morphing in. Okay. So far, yeah, we've had some losses. Yeah, we've had some decent trades. But all of this is very recoverable. Neither player really in an overwhelming advantage right now. I really wonder, though, if Serral should be mining out these mineral fields, because this does seem like quite a sketchy section of the map for him. This is also a fight, though, that's going quite well here for the Zerg. Chases that entire Terran army back home. There are some Widow Mines over here, but those Widow Mines are dealing friendly fire, too. Not enough remaining, though. In the meantime, big drop. Went down the bottom of the map. Clem does snipe the Hive here. Serral did already spend his piggy bank and went for 2 of those lurker dens simultaneously. But without Hive, he will not be able to start up those Hive tech upgrades. And that's painful. So he has to start up, yeah, it's over here at the 3rd base. He has to start up another one. You may have 2 lurker dens. He actually canceled one of them. Maybe you wanted to go double upgrades initially, but without Hive, you can't start up those upgrades. And that is really going to take the wind out of the sails of the Zerg. Even though he was doing a great job holding on. This entire bottom section of the map is turning out to be quite the thorn in Serral's side. Maybe a row of, I don't know, spore crawlers over here, you know? Kind of like what we see from Terran players quite a bit. Where they encircle their main base with missile turrets. Maybe that's the way to deal with it. Oh, dude, those Widow Mines are dealing about as much damage to the Terran army as they are to the Zerg, though. Second starport in the meantime coming up. Additional CCs are building. Clem knows he's slowed down the Zerg player, but is it enough to really go in for the finisher move? Base here at the top of the map is in a world of trouble. Serral mostly just bleeding out units here. Honestly, the only way he can comfortably save this base is if the Terran player makes a mistake. Because he needs to roll the units off creep, and that is just not going to work out in his favor. And I think this base is dead. Yeah, there it goes. Nice control right here by Clem. Clem is so lethal, dude. He knew he needed some sort of big momentum swing, so he decided, you know what, let's just load up the Medivacs and go for a big push. Sniping the Hive really slows down the Zerg so much. So eventually a Hive will finish up again. Considering this is the second Hive in the game, it's still actually pretty fast. Serral's remaking that base over here. He's already mined out those skinny mineral fields here too. Same actually for Clem, who now is mining out his own gold base here. So slowly but surely the whole map is opening up. Creep spread really needs to be spread out in this section of the map once more though. That missile, that sensor tower, what's it called? Zelnaga tower over here. That one's being extremely useful. Serral can see these attacks coming in, but is there anything he can really do about it? Clem slowly making the transition here towards ghosts. For now, yeah, still fighting off creep. He can chase this army quite nicely. Hive is done. 3-3 starts up. Upgrade as well for those lurkers, but Clem once more has his eyes set on this base at the top of the map. And this is going quite poorly now for Serral. Like, yeah, he's getting all of this going, and eventually his army will be good, but he can't keep losing bases. In the meantime, Clem is already securing a planetary fortress close to the main base of the Zerg. This is still a section. Actually, you could take the golden minerals over here too. Sensor tower gets built right over on that end. Dude, he can literally see the natural expansion of the Zerg. Keep in mind though that the missile or the sensor tower radius has been reduced quite a bit. So it doesn't actually help you out nearly as much, but a couple of snipey boys going in. And this is looking like a Clem game to a T. Tiny bit of miscontrol in the early game. But ever since then, Ever since he did that big drop in the main base. Now that is a little sloppy, I guess, but... He's been playing with the Zerg, really. Obviously, he's trying to see if he can get the victory here, but... This is still a really tough situation here for the Zerg. I don't really think there's an easy way for him to come back. Yep, Planetary Fortress is now done. Another command center is coming up. There's already a wall of command centers building. We have another one added. It'll be down to Serral here to take one of the expansions from the Terran. Especially the bases at the, well, the top half of the map. Everything north of the golden mineral lines. But I don't know if any of these are really viable. This low ground base? Maybe the top right. I think the top right is probably the easiest one. If Serral wants another base. We've seen quite a few medevacs going down, though. Spore crawlers, of course, deal more damage now, and that is not to be underestimated. Honestly, that may be the biggest buff that Zerg got in the new patch. Zerg got quite a few nerfs. There's some shiny new tools as well, like that Hydra dash ability, Blood Lunge, but I feel like the Spore Crawler buff may actually be the most significant thing. Fusion Core coming up right now for Clem. And he's also starting to take some of those bases north of the Golden Wall. You need to get something done here. You really can't have the Terran player mining this base. But what does Serral do about this? What can he do about it, really? He does decide to go for that base in the far top right. But now Terran is already securing an expansion over here. Okay. I wonder what the best move is. Now look at this, by the way. Neither player here is activating the watchtower. Serral gets it for a little bit, but there was a missile turret set up. He's just gonna try and be a nuisance. Maybe try and see if he can get a wraparound on some of these units. He needs to shove this Terran player away. Oh, that choke point here between the planetaries. Double planetary, by the way. It is going to be enough. Those Banelings dealing quite a bit of splash damage there onto both CCs as well. Looks like the Ghosts have managed to clean up the one lurker that was set up in that area. Liberator up north, unsieged, and the Queen is gonna have to continue chasing here. Although maybe, okay, yeah, a bit of an ambitious rally point there. Maybe they can get over there. Ooh, Medevac's in a bit of trouble. Serral trying to use that lunge to get a little bit closer. A couple of misrallied SCVs still left over here too. Okay. Now that kill over there of the double planetary was a very important cleanup for Serral. I don't think he can really have the Terran player mine that close to his bases. Advanced ballistics coming up. And this is of course where the Terran army is still getting better. Whereas the Zerg army, despite losing the Hive, has already been maxed out for quite a while. A new command center is flying on over in this direction. For some reason, man, Clem is feeling like he needs this base. I don't think he needs to be that much. Or he needs to be that aggressive with it, but... That's the third command center now that dies in that section of the map. Cancel on the next hatch. Serral's gonna restart it immediately. Clem is now also gonna look for the base up here, but he will find a Zerg expansion. Well, convenient that there were already Widow Mines and Liberators and all the rest of it on its way, and... that command center is going to be able to land here soon. Caduceus reactor coming up. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the late game in TVZ really boils down to the fact that the Terran army can still continuously be improved. Whereas the Zerg army has already been maxed out for like 5+ minutes, you know? Like you can't really make a much better army than what Zerg has right over here right now. I mean, yeah, the Ultra got buffed, but Liberators and Ghosts will still destroy them. Really, Hydraling Bane with Vipers and maybe Infestors for support is really... As weird as it is, because that feels like a mid-game army composition to me, but it really is your best bet. So, what it ultimately boils down to is that Zerg is gonna have a very hard time taking cost-efficient fights in the late game. Already 5,000-ish more minerals have been lost here by the Zerg player, and it's likely with Hydraling Bane, with Lurkers and Vipers for support, that it's gonna get more extreme in favor of the Terran. And considering Clem here is already mining about as much as the Zerg. So he's already got a similar looking bank. Oh my god, those rocks. I don't think I've ever seen them come into play. Considering he's already mining a similar amount, and I feel like this is gonna go one way only. Obviously, it still comes down to player skill and execution. But this is certainly an uphill battle right now for Serral. Now, how many bases does he have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He has 8 bases, assuming he can mine these 2. Clem, in the meantime, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So Clem technically does have 1 base less. That's a big one. So wait, did I count correctly? Can I count? Maybe I missed one of the bases. That doesn't seem right to me, because I feel like there is a symmetrical amount of bases, right? Because we have 2 in the middle. No, I probably miscounted one of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's 8. Okay, it is 8. So that means that assuming both players mine out their 50% of the map, and assuming Clem is going to be able to continue trading the way that he has been, Serral's going to bleed out. That's also why he's being aggressive right now, though, and this is a lovely little attack here. He does lose one of the Vipers, it seems. He's dealing quite a bit of damage. Serral needs to try and deny one of those bases. And I wonder which one is going to be the easiest one for him to deny. Well, the bases down south are already mostly dried up. Well, if Clem can do the opposite end... Oh, God. Clem is going to go for one of the bases of the Zerg player. If he can mine 9... and Serral is going to get 7. I mean, I guess he already mined like half of this expansion, but that would be massive. Some of the skinny mineral fields and some of the gas here will be denied. Mules are going to be able to make quick work of those, though, once this Zerg army has been forced to retreat. Fight goes on over here, too. Now some infestors are coming. I love the idea of some infestors here, actually. A really good idea. Okay. We do, by the way, have Aspire. Serral does, I guess, have the opportunity to maybe go into some Corruptors. If the, say, like, Liberator army gets too big, making a couple of those could be a good play. It's blocked. Oh. Some of the golden mineral fields are apparently right over here, hiding behind some of that section. Another bit of damage being done over here in the top right-hand corner, though. That's another planetary, I believe, going down. And Serral has now dealt 59 SCVs worth of damage. That is a lot. If you can get, like, one big fungal off and actually get a cost-efficient trade, that would be massive. Terrans don't generally like to mix in any sort of ravens in the late game, so they won't have any mobile detection. But keep in mind that missile turrets and scans can obviously also see these burrowed units. I don't think Clem has yet seen a single one of those infestors yet, so he's not really checking for it. And that may just work in Serral's favor. Yeah, so Clem doesn't really care so much about dealing damage at this point. All he really needs to do is just mine out his side of the map, if possible. He's decided, though, to stop adding SCVs in. So he's only got 37. Here's a fungal. Big fungal! Oh my god! Well, that is about as good a fight you're ever going to get against Clem. That was so many goes going down. Liberators now being broken here as well. Serral accidentally abducting his own overseers rather than the libs. He is going to be forced to retreat, but that was a really good fight right there for Serral. In a way, though, that also spoiled the surprise, right? Like, now Clem knows, okay, I gotta be very, very cautious, and he immediately starts up a couple of detectors here at the front. More missile turrets coming up. Gas loss, this is where you can really see that reflected right now. Gas losses are actually greater on the side of Clem, who's actually losing out in gas quite a bit. He really needs to get more gas income. In the meantime, there is a Zergling run by at the bottom of the map. Never ravens, though. Never ravens in the late game. Another fungo is certainly a possibility with that infestor up there. Serral waiting. Okay, the army's backing off. Fight over here at the bottom of the map too. Yeah, I mean, it's a split army here from the Terran player. Abducting the Medevacs would have been possible, I guess, but... Now that actually brings Serral solidly back into this game, though. Another infestor. It is gonna get a fungo off, but I don't think there is enough. I mean, the Zerg army is getting close now. Can't load them into Medevacs, of course, and that, well, lunge ability actually works out. Dude, Serral's working some magic here with those units of his. How many orbitals do we have? 7 of them in total. That's pretty good. Okay. So, Clem is once more maxed out. He's adding additional CCs. Keep in mind that those command centers are expensive. That's where a lot of that bank of Clem is currently at. He needs to be careful that he does not bleed out too many troops here. Serral is smelling blood in the water, but he needs to be careful as well that he does not overextend. Because this is still about as good an army as you can make as Terran if you focus on bio. Ghost with this many Liberators and some leftover Marines, Marauders, and Medevacs. This is an extremely powerful army in the hands of a good player here. Especially since there's only 40 SCVs worth. So the army is just massive. Serral continues harassing the bases down south. Blinding Cloud is going to save the 12 o'clock base for now. The gas geyser will fall, but Serral is really trying to hold on to this expansion. And he's doing a good job in that department too. Okay, eventually the... Oh. I mean, he just needs to sneeze on the hatch now and it will die. Couple ghosts. Okay, get abducted. Liberators are gonna move forward. It's trying to create a chokehold on this expansion. Missile turrets go down. Planetary at the 6 o'clock will also fall, but this base... I mean, it's mostly gas, I guess. Clem has got a better ratio of it now. Hatchery, in the meantime, does die. I think this is mostly just Serral getting rid of any units in this area of the map. Making sure that he once more has control of his side of the map. Okay. Now, the Zerg player still has a good number of minerals and gas, though. And if I was Clem here and you'd compare the money... Yeah, he took a bad fight, but you would sort of imagine that Zerg has at least a similar amount of money in the bank as you. Serral has actually been surprisingly cost-efficient with his army. Clem now, thinking about taking up some of those mineral fields as his own. A couple of the Medevacs got abducted too. Okay. I really would have loved to see Serral experiment a little bit more with that, like, Mass Overseer, Mass Nidus style that we've been seeing from Rogue. I haven't really heard a lot of the other top-level Zerg players mess around with it, but Rogue seems to make it look very good. I guess it's a very different style. Serral's just a lot more calculated, I guess, a little bit less chaotic, but I really feel like you need to, like, he could have been Nidusing the main base or the natural expansion all this time as well. Either way, he's found an opportunity right now. The lunge ability once again coming in clutch. We do have a bit of a welcoming committee of orbital commands here, though. A lot of these units are stuck, man. Imagine one Widow Mine. Woo! Could have been amazing there for Clem. Orbital command does fall. Units trying to see if they can cut off this Zerg retreat, but there's not quite enough. Clem now, though, is taking this base. The Liberators are not that mobile, so he wants to keep his eyes set to the top of the map, but Serral's saying, yo, we're not gonna fight for that anymore. Meaning that Serral is also giving up on really mining any more money. He's got these bases over here, but if he's giving up on the 12 o'clock base, it does mean that he's gonna lose out on a lot of stuff. Now, there's no detection. There's no detection for Clem. He doesn't see those burrowed infestors. There's one over here in the back. Okay, he spots it. Quick EMP. Is there enough, though, for a Terran player right now to hold on? Those Liberators and this Terran army in general is extremely split up. Serral's got his eyes set right now on the soft underbelly of the Terran player. That's the main and the natural expansion. Reinforcing units are running on over in this direction. Serral, with some strategic brilliance over here, though, is shutting down all of the production here of the Terran player. And it's not like Clem is rich enough to really remake any of his structures here. Whoa. brilliant move right here by the Zerg player. I think Clem assumed that Serral was gonna continue fighting this base up here. And Serral's saying, yo, I don't think I'm gonna do that. Instead, I've already mined like 3/4 of the map there. I don't really care anymore. You can have it. I will, well, hit you on the other side of the map where you least expect it instead. GG. Alrighty. So the second replay that I have is on Amygdala. By the way, heads off right there to Clem so he's the one that sent me these replays. Massive props to Clem right there for sending me a loss. That is... Yeah, Clem is a bit of a Chad, eh? Like, after winning the World Cup, I feel like it's done wonders for Clem's confidence. Obviously, he was already having some of that after his previous, what was it, DreamHack win as well, but... It is nice to see. I still... This is actually... I don't think this has ever really happened before. Basically, when the whole discussion about the new multiplayer balance patch was ongoing, Clem tweeted saying that he thought that the Ghost was too good in Terran vs. Zerg and Terran vs. Protoss, and that with the proposed balance patch, he was worried for Protoss' early game against Terran. Like, the fact that Clem actually was advocating for Terran nerfs is kind of amazing to me. And then the fact that he actually sent me a long, drawn-out macro game against Serral that he loses, also very cool. Very cool. Anyways, we find ourselves on Amygdala. This is the map with the tentacle rocks. Yeah. Yeah, they exist. They're very wiggly. I don't know why they're so long. These bleed out at the 8-minute mark. So, on the PTR, in the public test server of StarCraft 2, these were just regular rocks. These are now rocks that will lose HP over time. SCV Scout is gonna come this way. They always bug out on this little edge. I don't know why. Are you gonna bug out on this edge too? No.
Command center upgrade complete.
For some reason, it's only the other one. Now, this map only really has 2 attack lanes in the early game. So you have the bottom path, the one that this SCV took, and then the one opposite of it. The middle section of the map is currently covered by rocks and golden mineral fields. Really impressed by that previous game from Serral, though. Like, if that was me, right? If I was even remotely as good to be in a similar situation, I know that I would get very salty. I'd be like, well, I tried everything, man. I'm stuck with this mid-game army. How can I even do anything right now? My God, I can't even make... I have all this money. I've got infinite minerals and gas, and I still can't make an army that can beat the Terran. Like, that would be me. I would be a salty man. Serral instead is looking for solutions. He's trying to find solutions for the problem that he's facing. And that money fungal growth and then the really cool decision to fight to the bottom section of the map was slowly gobbling up that entire area. I actually was a little afraid that by killing the planetaries there, so he was killing the planetary at the 6 o'clock and then also at the gold base and then the double CC right next to his main. I was a little afraid that he was spending too much money on clearing out that section of the map, because ultimately that planetary at the 6 o'clock was doing very little for Clem, right? Like, there was a little bit of gas mining going on when he killed it, but that was about it. And it did cost him a healthy chunk of Zerglings, but he was effectively denying vision. He knew that Clem wasn't going to hunt down any more vision of that section of the map, and it allowed that final killer move. Very cool. Alrighty. So it's triple CC right here for Clem. Going 1-1-1. Couple of Hellions once more coming up, and it's going to be Hellion Banshee. The gold standard. In the meantime, Serral, curious to see if he's going to go Roaches. I've seen him play Roaches quite a bit on this map. Yeah, when the patch was first out, so it's been a couple weeks now, a lot of Zerg players were skipping link speed and going quickly into Roaches, but it seems like that may already be gone. Like, we may already be done with that. Curious how that works. Overlord Scout is going to reveal exactly what's going on, and it's going to scout a very similar setup once more. I mean, it's different than the first game because we had a 2-1-1 with a third command center. This is a 1-1-1 into 3-1-1. A little bit different, but ultimately all the roads will lead towards a marine-based mid-game. And that's mostly what Serral's looking for here. What sort of aggression can he expect right now? And what sort of aggression can he expect out of the Terran player in the future? Because Serral's not looking to be aggressive. Look at that planet, by the way. Oh, I do love the look of Amygdala's background. There's something about giant space battles that take place right above, I don't know, a beautiful looking planet. I will always be a sucker for science fiction like that, man. It's so cool. Anyways, Hellions. Trying to see if they can harass a base over here. Barracks number 4 and 5 coming up. Stimpback. +1/+1. Combat shields will be on the back of this here eventually too. And it's going to allow Clem to continuously macro up. Ooh. Uncharacteristic mistake. Serral immediately tightens the noose. Practicing his Warcraft 3 skills right there for a little bit. Bailing speed coming up. 1-1 here as well for the Zerg player. So this is effectively like a slightly adjusted version of the builds that we've been seeing over the last couple of years. Honestly, when you see Serral play like this, you can't even tell that the Queen is more expensive and the hatcheries are cheaper, right? Like, a lot of Zerg players have been vulnerable, I guess. Maybe that Serral has already figured out a new way to make all of this work. Tentacle rocks are gonna get knocked down here. Overseer Scout will be denied. Second factory on the front. Yep, or at the front. And we should be seeing barracks 6, 7, and 8 after the 4th CC. Oh, I say that. We have an armory coming up right now before any sort of 4th command center. So we have to keep an eye out here on exactly what Clem decides to do. This could be a triple CC 8 gate or 8 Rex push. Never mind. 4th command center coming up. This is kind of a nice map actually for 8 Rexing. So the distance here from that 3rd base to the Zerg's 3rd here, it's not that long. You have a lot of easy terrain to cover. It's unlikely that Zerg is going to ambush you while you're on your way there. I'm actually very late here on the combat shields. Maybe that's why he decided, you know what? We're not going to bother anymore. Instead, we'll go into 2-2. We should start up the 2-2. Yep. And then we should also start up barracks 6, 7, and 8 here in a moment. Then when the 4th command center is done, we can start making the transition as well towards ghosts. Serral, by the way, already making adjustments from Home Story Cup. From the Home Story Cup replays that I've casted so far, Serral was very obviously fond of like the 6 dropper lords, right? 6 dropper lords into quick Nidus Worm and all that. In that previous game we had a look at, he didn't bother with any of it. And I feel like Dorado is a very easy map to be dropping the Terran's main on. Much easier than this one anyways. So curious to see a bit of variety there. 2-2 coming up. Infestation pit here on the production tab as well. 4th command center is now flying on over towards that 6 o'clock position. And this is an even easier staging ground right now for the Terran player to be attacking from. Constantly denying the creep over here is lovely. Serral, by the way, skipping the Hydra then this time around. No Hydras? Oh! Whoa, that was a banger of a hit. 23 kills on that Widowmine. And I wonder if that's going to almost like seal the deal on this base kill. I mean, another Widowmine? Oh, somehow, some way that one did not quite launch. Serral decides to chase this army away off creep. Generally a dangerous play. Good target firing right here by the French Terran player. And the Banelings, they're forced to retreat. Love the Banshee, by the way. When the Banshee is left over from the early game, it's so nice. Creep spread, though, looking dangerous here. Serral's already gone through the middle here. with those rocks now being disappeared and then some of the rocks getting knocked down, he can set up very fast counterattacks towards, for example, this bottom of the map, but also the natural expansion is looking very vulnerable. That's exactly where these Lings and Banes seem to be headed. Cancel right there on one of the structures. Must have been a sensor tower. Serral right now setting up a push on both sides of the map once again. Yeah, and this is really well executed here once more by the finisher. It's the classic 1-2 punch. Terran's so focused on fighting at the front that these fights on the back are suddenly a lot more achievable. Clem has realized, though, what the real culprit is, and it's that creep spread going through the center. It's allowing those quick counterattacks. So getting rid of the creep here would be massive. Serral trying to see if he can keep it alive. Good dodge right there on a major Widowmine hit once again. We have another one over here, not really dealing that much damage. Clem is going to be forced to retreat. A new command center is coming up, but I'm liking this position here for Serral more and more. Then again, no, Widowmine! Oh, another big one. Easy kill on one of the command centers. Planetary here also falls. And those are, even though the Widowmine hits are really good, those are very expensive traits. Can he get something done in the meantime on the other side of the map? Well, Clem, he's got his eyes set over here at the 12 o'clock base. And it looks like he will be able to get the kill. Harassing this mineral line as well from the back. Very good. Okay. This is the type of game that was starting to slip from Clem's fingers. But he realizes that the way to get back into this is not by slowing down and playing defensively, but by trying to pile on the chaos instead. And this is a situation where Serral rarely loses. Counterattack coming up right now here for the finisher. So yeah, Clem's probably wondering, where are those units at? Well, he's found them now at the bottom of the map. His entire army, though, is occupied in the middle. He's sending some of it back, or at least he was considering sending some of it back. A little bit of indecisiveness. Another command center gets cancelled. These are not yet fully upgraded Zerglings, and that really is the saving grace here for Clem. Zerg is forced to retreat. Hatchery in the middle of the map has disappeared. Clem is going to continue fighting right over here. Whoa, okay. Well done. Very well done right here by Clem. Keeping his head cool. Taking quite a few losses at home, though. If he could secure another kill on another base, that would be massive. Spore crawlers found somewhere around the bases of the Zerg, making their way to the front. He wants to see if he can create a chokehold on this expansion. Queens are trying to keep it alive. Lingbane counterattack, trying to sandwich his army right now, but the sandwich is becoming the sandwich. Lingbane once more thinking about chasing this army off creep. Abductions on the Liberators. Great concave right here, though, for Clem, who's on the hunt, and he is going to be able to secure the kill on this base. Fantastic maneuvering here. Slowly but surely, Serral's bleeding out. Whoa. I've got chills, dude. That was actually such a critical sequence of events right there for Clem. I feel like when we see Serral starting to get those counterattacks done, and he's actually killing bases, and planetaries are dying, and we have the Lings running into the natural expansion, he pretty much always wins. But the fact that Clem decided to meet that chaos with even more chaos, and then pretty much out-chaos his opponent to get back into this position that we are in right now, incredible. This is still by no means game over yet, though. The thing is, if you look at the supply count, the Terran army is just so freaking massive. He doesn't have a lot of income. He is securing another planetary, I guess it's going to be right here at the bottom of the map. But this is not that mass orbital command strategy that we normally see from Clem. He doesn't have money for that. He's going to be able to meet the Zerg here as far as upgrades go. Fight happening as well, at least. Okay, thinking about it at the very least here up north. He wants to go into the natural expansion, but instead he's just trying to snipe some of the reinforcing units that are running past this. It's like a Zerg highway. Widowmine, dealing friendly fire, but that Widowmine, though. 7 kills, and I think that was mostly Banelings. Serral decides to tap out as he realizes that this expansion at the top of the map would go down in just a couple of seconds. And with a fantastic set of games, we do have Clem picking up the win.